Hi guys, Nika here. Um, yeah, so I wanted to show you a bit. I worked on this new features for the module inventory for Game Creator. So basically, it's not something that I'm going to release or whatever. It's like to help you maybe to if you want to integrate yourself some stuff. And especially for Marty, if he wants to integrate that officially to Game Creator inventory modules, that would be great. Anyway, that's like kind of to give ideas out. Nothing here is like super professional because I'm not a coder. I'm using Bolt mostly for my visual scripting, as you can see, and I did some stuff in C# as well in the main code in the main scripts that Game Creator has. So basically, I just updated the item UI list script. Basically, it's so let me open the inventory. I changed the view here to make it more comfortable for the video. Usually, I have game and scene separated, but I guess it's better like that. So basically, I got this item UI list script that is on the your grid. Usually, it's on your inventory grid. I just updated it to have a grid, a pre-created grid, because by default, I'm not sure, I didn't dig into it, but by default, Game Creator inventory doesn't have like a grid pre-created with slots like here. It just add the item when you pick them up into the inventory. But for my project, I need some kind of a grid already created because the character will have some slots, and we'll have a hotbar here, which is like in if you play Minecraft or Stardew Valley, it's the same. Basically, this is also an inventory more or less. It's like the hotbar where you can drag and drop to the hotbar to be able to use a pickaxe or a weapon or whatever. So that's the goal here is to not be limited just by the inventory here and only equip from here. It's actually not my actual project here. It's some other prototypes because here you see there are clothes and so on. But so I don't have example with like items like a pickaxe and so on, but doesn't matter. I will just show like that. So I just updated the script to have this pre-created list that it will count the number of slots I have, the free slots I have. So as you can see, I have 2 free slots in this inventory. I can show you here. Those free slots are here. I just made some placeholders here. So does it check it? How does it check it? Simply, it will check the slot and if it has a child. If there is a child, whatever it is, but it will always be an item, of course, it will consider that the slot is used. So I can make a small demonstration here. I will just pick up an item, then another one. Okay, it's supposed to be full. And if I go here, there is a inventory is full message that pops up. It's completely not cleaned up. The message is not good here, but just to show up that it works. You would tell me that in Minecraft and so on, of course, it will fill those here, but I will need to talk with Marty about that because the issue is it's an item. This bar is also an item list component, and yeah, I think we need some kind. We discussed that some kind of multiple inventory possibles to manage that, but that's fine. It's okay so far. So now I have this grid and so on, and I put in place a drag and drop system. So the drag and drop is made in Bolt, and basically, if I put my mouse over a slot, I will show you here. There's a variable which is this one. No, you won't see the variable on the. Let me extend it. You will probably see it like that. There is a variable here, and basically, when I pass my mouse over it, it will define the selected. So it's just a raycast. So then I can drag. Yeah, I was trying to drag this one, but this one is like a placeholder. It's not an official item. So it will check the item if it's a game creator item. So if it has a component item on it, it will consider it draggable. So I can drag it. I can put it here and it will reparent to the original. Same for any item here. I can also move them to the hotbar here, and it will parent it to the hotbar. And same concept, if I move it here, it will automatically reparent. I can equip from the hotbar or from the inventory, like this. It's equipping, and I can of course move the equip item to the hotbar and move whatever. Um, oh yeah. If I have already an item under where I want to move, it will swap. It will just swap the two items. So as you can see, it's just doing swap. So that's quite what I wanted for my project. So I'm not saying that it's like a go for every project. So I guess there is a way to make it kind of neutral, modular for any game aspects. But I do think that those features are really nice to have, especially the reorganization um, of the items and so on. I do have to check for making it work with the gamepad, but yeah, it's going to be another story. So how does it work? It's very simple. So here in my start event, I have stuff and some events here that are just for my project. So let's not check that. So basically, from top to bottom, like in C Sharp, we have every time I go over an item, it triggers an event that resets another thing in my graph, just to reset that we change slot. It's very simple, but that's not important. Here it's just a simple way of checking if the inventory is open, so it's like to save resource. If the inventory is closed, all the things here stop working, like here. So if it's open, then it will start checking stuff, but it's just to save performance if the inventory is open or not. So the first thing that it does is recasting the selection slot. So what is it exactly? So basically, it will do a recast every time I pass my mouse over an item. Um, it will recast from my mouse to the slot and check if the slot has a correct tag. So if it's I created a tag inventory slot, and if it is the case, it will define it as a variable which is called inventory selected item. This variable is just to say, okay, I'm over this item with my mouse. I didn't click anything, so let's save that as a variable. If I remove my mouse, it will here set this variable as null. So to avoid some issue I had where I was clicking anywhere around and it was grabbing my item. So it resets when you mouse over, it saves the variable. When you mouse out, it removes the variable. Very simple stuff. Then the next step is if we actually click. So first we check if the inventory is open. Then we check if there is an inventory slot selected. So if I'm over an inventory slot. If it's the case, then we are waiting for a mouse input. Sorry. So until I clicked with my mouse, nothing happened. It's false. So we allow to check the recast to check the slot is still allowed. We don't do anything here. This thing here is some events to reset because I'm using do once. Do once allow me to in update to not have every frame some things done every frame because some things are needed just once every time I pass my mouse over an item, and that's all. So if the mouse is clicked, then it goes to true. It goes to this unit here. So this unit has some stuff in it, nothing complicated. Basically, it will first turn off the recasting from the slot selection I explained before. So we stop selecting a slot. We selected it because we press the mouse button. So we stay on this slot. Then we get the child count of the item, which we get if the item, the slot, sorry, not the item, if the slot has children. Because if there is no children, that means it's an empty slot. So if we click, we don't want to grab an empty slot. It's a grid fixed in the inventory, so we do not do anything. So if it's true, if the item, if there is no children, we don't do anything. But if there are children, then we grab some information. We check if there is a component item UI, which is the game creator item component. So if there is a item UI component, then we move forward, and then we save as a variable the item we grabbed. So as we grabbed it, we save it as a variable to say, okay, that's the item we grabbed, not another item. Then it's stuff for my own project with tooltip. I disable the tooltip when I do that. That's very simple. So the next step is to inventory grab. Sorry, I'm lost. The next step is to do the actual grabbing. So the actual grabbing is very simple. Sorry, it's here. So the actual grabbing is just to say, okay, we have the item, we save the slot parent where it was. So if I release, it will always go back to the parent slot where it was. So it's important to keep a reference of where the item was in case the player did not move it to another slot, but just say, oh, yeah, okay, I put it back here. So in this case, we save the reference here. All item parent is saved as a variable. Then, when I grab the item, you can see it, yeah, it's going to, let me check. Yeah, you can see it here on the left in the hierarchy. We unparent the item from its slot. That's very important because we want to be able to move freely with the item everywhere. So we unparent it and parent it just to the root canvas of the inventory. So basically, it's now parented to the canvas, the root, not under a slot and so on. Then we set the position to be at the mouse. It's here. So basically, it follows my mouse everywhere. And we do a new raycast, and this raycast is to check where above what item slot I am. If I'm nowhere, then it's here. We define the variable new slot as null. So if I'm nowhere, you see it here, it's null. Okay. But if I am above a slot, you can see it here. We do a raycast, and the raycast hit let us know that there is slot 7, slot 8, slot 5. That is the new potential slot until I release the mouse. I still click the mouse here. So until I release the mouse, that's the potential. If I release the mouse, then we move to the next stage, which is the release event. So the release event is super simple because there are 3 possible outcomes. The first outcome is we didn't select a slot. We didn't select a new slot because we moved the item in the middle of nowhere, or we just release it above the original slot. So in this case, we parent it to the original position, which is here. So I will show you. It's very simple. So we get the old slot reference that we set way earlier. And we set it back to this slot. Nothing else. The rest is just for my tooltip stuff. The second possible outcome is when we have a free slot, empty slot under. So if there is no item, in the slot I'm moving above, then when I release, it will just trigger this unit, which just parent it basically to this new slot. That's all. It just parented back. I set always the local position to 0, 0, 0. I'm not sure if it's the right way because I had problems where the position was completely off and so on. So that's all. I just parent it back to the slot, the empty slot. Then there is in case we have an item where we move. So like, yeah, sorry, that weapon is stupid. I will disable it. So if I move above an item, it will detect that there is something here. So in this case, I choose, there are many ways. In some games, you will grab the old item in your mouse and then you have to move it anywhere, but here, for my project, I choose that it will just swap the position. So it just basically takes the reference of the original parent, takes the reference of the new destination, and parent each in the opposite direction. and nothing crazy. It's just a swap. It's just a matter of references. Yeah. So that's it. I'm very, very sorry that maybe things are a bit like confusing, especially if you never used Bolt. It's probably like super mega confusing. I'm not like I didn't prepare this video. It was just to explain how it works, and to give some ideas to you guys. I think that can be extended a lot. We can do way more. I do think that there are some how to say that, I do think that there are things I didn't think about, that we will create issues probably with picking up items. I'm not sure, but so far the concept work, and it's for me super great because it fits my needs, my requirements. And I do hope, Marty, if you made it until the end of the video, that you will consider those options. Um, Maybe we can even discuss it more in detail and so on. But yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, just grabbing, then moving out of the thing, reparent it to the original slot, grabbing, move it to a empty slot, parent to this empty slot, and grabbing above an actual used item, exchange, swap the positions. Yeah, that's it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions or whatever, just ask. If you have ideas, please submit them. I would love to extend that as much as possible. And please harass Marty Emnog to implement that. That would be so cool. Thank you guys. Bye.